These are some Dinar Guru updates, starting off with Nader from the Mid East. Says, I saw this article. This is the third time I've seen it in 1 year. They keep talking about how much money there is in the street. They say 92 trillion dinars on the street, and they don't know how to get them to the banks. A lot of these trillions are outside of the country, and we have them. They're everywhere. United States, Canada, Europe, everywhere. The only way to get this trillions out of the streets is by changing the currency and changing their rate. That's the only way they can get the 92 trillion dinars off the streets, and that's exactly what's going to happen soon. Frank 26 says these are sequential steps we look for. We know what's going on with gold. We know what's going on with their inflation. When inflation goes down and your gold reserves climb up like that, a formula to add value to a nation's currency. The steps, the proof, the evidence you're seeing is not for a sanctioned program rate. All right, Sandy Ingram says the Kuwaiti dinar is worth $3.81, the highest valued currency against the US dollar in the world. Iraq produces 4 million barrels of oil per day. Kuwait only produces 2.7 million barrels per day. Iraq produces more oil than Kuwait, yet Kuwait's currency is the highest valued currency in the world against the US dollar. There's something wrong here. There is one of the reasons IQD investors believe in the IQD revalue or adjustment, but we have to take into account the overprinting of the money. Caparoni article, quote, Iraqis hoard trillions of dinars, weakening banks. Moving on, Mark Z via PDK article, quote, Trump's envoy to Iraq declares Iraq is back, hailing renewed U.S. role Baghdad sovereignty drive. Mark Z says the new envoy is officially there and working. Make Iraq great again. How do you make it great again? Increasing Iraq's purchasing power. Militiaman says sometimes the news isn't always what it sounds like. It's sometimes meant for a purpose. Sometimes they don't quite tell the whole story. They downplay it, which I think is part of the process. Frank 26 has a question. How many dinars are outside of Iraq? Frank says it's not important. It's not even important to the CBI. If you added up all the dinars individuals have purchased, it wouldn't even add up to a pimple in the back of an elephant's butt, says Frank. Frank says if you add up all the countries, all the reserves and banks that have traded the dinar for their currency, that's astronomical. And lastly, a Mark Z via PDK comment. Guru Mountain Goat is not expecting it until January 2026 for the reinstatement of the dinar. Mark Z shares an article, quote, Central bank sets banking reform plans. This may be what Mountain Goat is thinking, not until January 2026. They are talking about banking plans and reforms and saying many banks will be compliant and ready for international standards by January of 2026. Most banks will be ready early 2026 with international reforms. If they're going to implement these international banking reforms by January, I think they need a new rate before then. I think it's sooner, and I'm thinking we're on the cusp.